All right, what's up everyone? Dave here with another exciting tutorial, and today I want to talk about MetaHuman, and Mesh to MetaHuman is so exciting. So what you can do is you can scan anything. You can scan your own face and bring it into MetaHuman and make it come alive. Okay, so what you're looking at is me as a MetaHuman. Okay, and I'm going to show you exactly what I did to get myself in MetaHuman form. Okay, I'm going to show you what app I downloaded from the iPhone to scan my head for free, and then how I brought that in. Made some adjustments with Maya, but again, if you want to use Blender or 3D Studio Max or any of these other programs, you'll be able to do that. And then I'll show you how to connect it to MetaHuman. Okay, super exciting stuff. I'm super excited to show you, so let's go ahead and kind of jump right into this. First off, the first thing we need to do is scan a face. Okay, so here's this is my iPhone, and if I click on App Store here, I'm going to just go to search at the bottom, and I'm going to type in Meta Scan. Okay, there's a lot of ways that you can scan. You can see I did Meta 3D Scanner, and you can see that there's this red icon here. And this one, I tried it. I was really excited with how it worked, and it did great. Okay, so, and I just did the simple way of scanning. So I'm just going to go ahead and open this up and show you what it kind of looks like here. So if I click open, here's some scans that I did. Okay, the first scan that I did, you can see it's actually upside down. I can see here's how it came out, and there I am. Okay, I don't know why it's upside down. Obviously, there's a hole in my head here. Okay, but and then here's the other one, this one here, and I'm going to talk about kind of the lighting that I had, which is more even lighting, and I actually wore something on my hair to kind of keep that down, and then you can see it 360. Actually, I feel like it did a really good job. Actually, super impressed with this. And if you want to see what this looks like in Maya, I'm just going to kind of show you what it looks like here. I was able to bring it in Maya, and this is what it looks like. If we want to see what the mesh looks like, if I go like this, that's what the mesh looks like. Here's what the wireframe looks like. Okay, and you can see that I've got my little hat on, if you will. But I was really surprised that it actually had textures. And if I want to see kind of what the UVs look like, that's what the UVs look like. So it is actually UV'd, broken down, laid flat, and has a texture. Now, the MetaHuman itself is actually not using the texture, but I feel like the texture helps the MetaHuman generator kind of understand where the eyes and the mouth are and things like that. So I find that it is important. So let's get back to on the iPhone here. So, and I saved this bad scan here because this first one I did outside, and you can see that my eyes are kind of squinty, the lighting isn't the greatest, there's kind of severe shadows on my face. So I feel like that's kind of what not to do. Okay, and I promise I wasn't standing on my head, I just came upside down, and I'm not able to kind of spin it the way that I want. I mean, maybe I can, but it doesn't really matter. I could always flip it in Maya. And the other thing too on this one is that you can see that I did not have anything on my head as far as on my hair. So what'll happen is that that scan will come in really kind of lumpy on the top. And I feel like the MetaHuman is going to generate the hair for us. So we want to kind of have like if you have a swim cap or something like that, that would be ideal. I just put this, I don't know, this little kind of tight fitting wrap on. It's not perfect. You can see the back's kind of messy, but I feel like that's okay. And I also just sat inside on the couch with kind of some even lighting. And then I had someone take pictures of me. Okay, so I'm going to kind of show you how this is done here. So this little plus sign at the bottom, if I click on the plus sign, now it's going to say, hey, take a photo. And what you're going to do is, let's say that this was a real person. Okay, I'm going to just kind of take a photo. I'm going to hit the photo button, and then I'm going to just, it'll automatically take a photo, and then in 2 seconds, it'll automatically take another photo, and then it'll automatically take another photo. And it says you want about 30 photos to make it work. I'm just going to get out of this. It needs about 30 photos. I think this one I can see was, I think this was about 65 photos. I've done other tests of like 100 photos. I feel like the more photos, the better. And just one thing to think about is if you're getting your photo taken, if you're the model, if you will, try to keep your eyes focused like on something in the distance. Don't follow the phone moving around your face. And I want you to think about who's ever taking the photo of your face to get like a 360 degrees all the way around your face, including the top of your face, including the low angles of your face, including the back of your head. So think about kind of like not just like a circle around your face, but think of a sphere around your face, okay, from every possible angle that you can kind of think about, okay? And then also, if you're going to be the model, I want you to sit with a very neutral expression. Okay, it doesn't seem very exciting, but like no teeth showing, no smile, no expression, just simple kind of staring off to the distance, okay? That's going to help the most, okay? Now, then what you can do is once you're ready, you can go like this. You can click on the, you can see at the bottom, you can click on the share button. And if you just downloaded the app and that's all you did so far, the only option that you can export is the USDZ, this first one here. And what I noticed with that, so if I click on that, that's the only way that I can do it. And then I could click on the mail button and that would email it to me, okay? But with the USDZ, I can open that in Maya. However, it does not have the textures associated with it, okay? So if you want the textures associated with it, you would have to choose one of the other ones. And what I would recommend is the OBJ. So if you click on the OBJ, if it's the first time you're doing it, it's going to say, hey, do you want to pay for a subscription? And there's also a 7-day free trial. So if you just want to try it, you can click on the 7-day free trial, and then it'll allow you to export out as an OBJ. Now, I should mention this, that on the 7-day free trial, I'm just going to get out of this real quick. And if I go to my messages here, you'll get a subscription confirmation after you do it. And you can see that this is what it looks like. And I can see that the subscription price, it says $49.99 a year. And if I click on the renew my subscription down here, okay, I have a choice. I can do 1 month for $6.99, or I can do 1 year for $49.99. Now, or you can hit cancel subscription. I already hit cancel subscription. And what that does is it cancels it. But even if you cancel it day 1, it'll still let you do the rest of the week. Okay, so you can still try it out. And that's what I did. I just canceled it right away. But you can kind of see that there's these other things. If you don't do anything and you forget about it, it's going to charge you $49.99. So I recommend either switching to the month plan, or, I mean, if you feel like you're going to use it a lot, then maybe the $49.99 is a good deal. But like I said, I just canceled it, figured out if this is something that I want to do. But it's important that you do at least do the trial, because you need to export it with the textures. I tried doing it without the textures. It didn't work as well. So great. Now that we've got that done, so pretend you took pictures of yourself and then you emailed it to yourself. Again, you can see that's Metascan 3D scanner. It's got some pretty good reviews here. So that's kind of how you would start. And let's take a look here. So if I escape, close this. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Maya, and I'm just going to open it up clean. I'm going to go File, New Scene. All right. So when you do this, it's going to export it out as a zipped file. So I can see it's going to look like this. And I'm just going to right click on it, and I'm going to choose extract to this one here, the one with the slash, and that's going to create a folder. And that folder should have, it's going to create a folder, and then it should have all the files on, including the OBJ file, and then actually some texture files associated with it like that. And let's see what that looks like if we open it in Maya. So I have Maya open. I'm just going to go to File, Import, and then I'm going to choose the OBJ file. So just to kind of break this down, the OBJ is actually the geometry. This is the material file that is associated with it. And these are the files that make up the material. Okay, so I'm just going to open up the OBJ. And I can see that it's super, super small. And by default, normally you would have Y as up. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it at Y up right now. And if I go to View, I'm just going to say Default View, there it is. And if I click here and if I press F, I can see that, hey, there's the scan, which is pretty cool, coming from just photographs. And if I press 6, I can see that textures are automatically applied. That's awesome. But let's take a look at how big it is. And also another thing is that Y is normally up. Well, first of all, let's just do this. I'm going to switch to the front view, and I'm going to go to Window, Settings, Preferences, Settings, and I want to set this to feet to see how big this is, and I can see that it's really small. I'm going to scale this up, and each one of these units is now, a foot. There we go. Each one's a foot. So I'm going to make the face about a foot big because that's about real world scale. That looks a lot better. I'm also going to make sure that it's kind of facing front. It might not be. It might be kind of crooked. It might even come in like a crazy angle like that. Just kind of reposition it with your move, rotate, and scale tools to be kind of facing the right way, facing forward. And I'm also going to change this to Z up. Okay. And now when I click on this, I can see that Z is up. I'm also going to go to View, Default View. And now I want to bring this up like this. And I'm going to go to my channel box. And I want to make sure that this is set to 90 degrees. There we go. And I can see that, great, this is sideways, that's front, that's like that. It's about a foot big. And I'm also going to go back to my settings preferences. And I want to set my settings back to centimeter. So why am I doing all this? Because Unreal likes to have Z up. Unreal also likes to have Z or centimeters as their units. And now I can kind of select this and I can go ahead and export this. And maybe I'll just go ahead and freeze this out. So if I go to Modify, Freeze Transformations, it'll kind of zero everything out. Okay, excellent. So now I'm started. And you might say, well, what happens if I don't scale it up? Well, what'll happen is that it can give you an error in Unreal. It says, hey, there's an error with this geometry. There's, blah, blah, blah. And what it's basically saying is it's just too small. Okay, it doesn't say specifically it's too small. It'll be confusing. You'll be like, what's wrong with it? But the problem is that I found it's too small. Okay, so now I'll select this. And I'm going to go to File, Export, Selection. I'm just going to put it on my desktop for now. So if I go to Desktop, I'm going to call this Dave Example Scan. Okay, cool. And I'll just go ahead and leave all this stuff on like this. I'm going to do it as an OBJ. And if I don't have access to OBJ, I'm going to go here, Windows, Settings, Preferences, Plugin Manager. I want to make sure that OBJ is selected. Here it is, OBJ Export, loaded and auto-loaded. Then I should be able to go File, make sure that this is selected, File, Export Selection. I'll go to Desktop, and I'm just going to call this OBJ _ Dave Example. And make sure that this is set to OBJ. Notice I can scroll up and down with the wheel here. There we go, OBJ. And then I'll just set it like this. Okay, cool. Export selection. Now the trick is I need to go to the Epic Game Launcher. So I'm going to go to Epic Game Launcher and launch this. And if you don't have this, you would need to do Google search for Epic Game Launcher. And I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so if you didn't have this, I would just do a search for Epic Game Launcher and then go to download Epic Game Launcher from Epic Games. And this is a free download. You would just have to hit download here, and you'd have to sign in, of course, and then download the game launcher. Once you download it, this will pop up, okay? Now, this is kind of the starting point prior to actually getting anything to happen, okay? And one of the things you're gonna have to do is, in library here, you're gonna have to download the Unreal Engine 5.0 or greater. Okay, so you can see I just hit the plus sign there, and then I can kind of choose what version I want. And but I would need to make sure that I download, I'm gonna hit remove, that I download 5.0 or later. That might take 3 hours or so to download, so it's a big program. But once you're done with that, you can hit launch. But before I do that, I'm gonna go to the marketplace. Actually, I'm gonna go to news, I'm sorry. And they're talking about mesh to MetaHuman. I'm gonna go ahead and click on that. And it's gonna bring me up to a page that's going to give me, here it is. This page is gonna give me the plugin. Here's the plugin that's needed. And I can see that it says open launcher, but if I didn't have it installed, I would be able to make sure to sign into my account. Then I would have to download the plugin, and then I can, once it's downloaded, it should automatically kind of be installed in the correct place, and then it would be ready to be activated. And if you have any questions about that, you can kind of read about it right here. And here's documentations about the plugin. But that plugin needs to be installed right away. So once that plugin is installed and you have Unreal 5.0 installed, I can hit launch, and then I'm going to go ahead and wait for it to launch. Sometimes, especially if it's the first time launching, it might take a while. And then once it's installed, I have to activate the plugin. And then I might have to actually restart it again, and then we'll be ready to rock and roll. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit pause and let this launch. Okay, so that did take a couple minutes to launch. And here's my recent projects, or I can kind of have some starting templates. I'm just going to go to the film, video, and live events. And I'm just going to say a blank template. I'm also going to uncheck starter content because I don't really need anything. I'm just going to kind of bring in my own stuff. And I can see that this is where it's saving. This is what the name of it is. I'll just go ahead and hit create. And now it's going to go ahead and kind of create my project in a blank scene. Again, it might take a little bit of time, especially if it's the first time launching. Okay, and that took about a minute or so. Again, I just paused the video. And then this is what we're presented with, okay? If I come down here to content drawer, this is kind of where my contents of stuff are. And if I click add, I want to see MetaHuman here. Notice, and it's not in the list here. And that was the one that we downloaded, or the plugin. So if I go up here to window, I'm going to go to, edit plugins. I'm going to type in MetaHuman. And I can see here it is, MetaHuman right here. I'm going to go ahead and activate it. And it says, hey, it's experimental. I'll hit yes. And now we have to restart again. So I'll hit restart. And it's going to relaunch everything. Again, it might take a little bit of time. I'll go ahead and pause the video and then bring it back up. Well, I can see that this one's actually loading significantly faster the second time. So maybe I'll just leave it. And we should be up and running soon. Okay, cool. And here we go. So yeah, that one wasn't too bad. Now I can double check to make sure that it's working. So I'll go ahead and close this. I'll go to my content browser, and if I go to add, I can see MetaHuman is here, so that's good. So now I'm ready to bring in my stuff. I'm going to get this so it's nice and clean. I'll just right click in the empty area down here, go to new folder, and I'm going to call this MetaHuman test, enter. And then in here, so this is a folder, this is the contents of that folder. I'll just click in here and go to import, and I'm going to go ahead and bring in my scan. Okay, here's the OBJ Dave example, open. And one thing on the FBX import options, I want to go to advanced here. I want to make sure the combine meshes is checked so it doesn't come in as multiple pieces. I'll just hit import all. And here it is. If I double click on this, it's going to come in, and it may or may not have the material on. I can see that this one does have the material on, which is cool. If it doesn't, that's fine. Also, if it's facing the wrong way, that's not the end of the world. You can still kind of work around that. You can just select it and rotate it here. But I feel like it's easier to just kind of rotate it in the other one. Now, if the material was not, if it came in all black, I could find this file right here, and I would do that by, if I look on the desktop. So if I go to, let me see. You can see on the desktop, this would be it. So what I could do is, if it wasn't in there, I could just kind of go like that and drag it in, and then it would appear like this. And then if I needed to, I could double click on my material and then go to the content drawer, and then I could just drag this up here, and I can see that it would be here. And if I need to connect it, I could just go RGB and connect it here, and then hit save, and then it'd be good. Okay, so then it should be all connected, which is pretty cool. Okay, but now what? Okay, now that I have that, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and kind of add it to MetaHuman. Okay, and the way that I'm going to do that is going to add, and you can see that MetaHuman is there because we have the plugin installed. I'm going to go to the MetaHuman identity. I'm going to call this Dave MetaHuman. Okay, that's kind of looks scary, but that's all right. I'll double click on it. And now, really, there's nothing in the scene here. Okay, but it's going to ask me to log in. So I need to make sure that I'm logged into Bridge with my Epic Games account. So you might have to log into Bridge for this, and you may have to sign in. And if you don't have an account, you can sign up here. But I'm going to go ahead and sign in. So I'll just go ahead and move this off and sign in. And make sure that you've got cap locks. You're respecting cap locks. So otherwise it's going to make a difference on your password, obviously. So just give me a moment. I'll log in here. Okay, great. So I'm logged in, and now I can come down here to components from mesh. And if I click here, there it is. If I click on that, now here it is. I'm just going to change a couple things here. I'm going to put my field of view to 20. I'm also going to change this to unlit. And I'm going to look at this kind of directly dead on. I'm using left and right mouse button. I'm kind of looking at it directly dead on. There we go. I'm going to go to neutral pose right here. And now I'm ready to promote this frame. Okay, so if I hit promote frame, what it's going to do is it's going to allow me to go down here and right click and hit auto tracking on. When I click auto tracking on, it's going to load the trackers, and it's going to try to find the eyes, the mouth, and actually kind of the cheek lines. You can see it's loading the trackers. And there it is. Okay, and if I move it, it should just automatically find it again. And by the way, if it's not doing a good job, you can go in and you can move these, but I feel like if that's the case, it probably means that you don't have a good scan or a good texture. And maybe I would recommend trying to scan again, but realize that you can move this stuff, and you can see that it kind of found it automatically. So I'm just going to say not now for updating this. So I'm going to hit not now. There we go. Now, let's say if I like this, I'm just going to right click and say lock camera. All right. And now if I click on this, I can still rotate around here. And I'm going to say MetaHuman identity solved. And if I click on this, it's going to try to match my likeness. It's going to take the MetaHuman kind of topology and wrap it on my head. And what does that mean? Well, if I hit B, there's the MetaHuman kind of topology, and there's this. So if I wanted to kind of see that, if I select both of these on, and then when here, you can kind of see how close, I mean, like how that's set up there. Okay. Again, you can kind of see there it is. Now, that's pretty much it. But the last thing I'm going to do is click on body, and I'm just going to say, hey, am I female or male? Also, what's my height? I'm just going to leave it in the middle here, and I'm just going to select the middle male. Okay, so we got skinny, average, and then large. So I'm just going to go like this, and that's about it. Now I can click on Mesh to MetaHuman, and you can see that it's waiting. It's going to go ahead and process that, and when it's ready, it's going to say, hey, it's ready to go. And then it's going to send it to a program called Bridge, and that's what we logged into originally here. And once it's set up on Bridge, then we'll be able to go in and edit it, okay? And you'll see why I kind of wore this cap, because, you know, I'm trying not to have the hair kind of get all messed up. And but I'll show you how to solve that once we get into the next one. And it says, hey, your MetaHuman is now available in Bridge. I'll just go ahead and click OK. Now, to enter Bridge, I can go to Window, and then I can say Quixel Bridge. And when I do that, it's going to enter Bridge here, which I'm logged in. And then I'm going to go to MetaHumans. And if I go to My MetaHumans, this is going to be the latest MetaHuman right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. And I'm going to click on Start MCH, which is MetaHuman Creator. And that'll actually launch a website. Okay, and this is the website. And now I can say launch the latest MetaHuman Creator. And you can see that it's compatible with Unreal Engine 5. So I'll go ahead and launch that. And this one might take a couple minutes to get started. And sometimes if there's a lot of people on, it may take, you know, it might say, hey, there's a lot of people logged in, you're in a queue, because it's all running off their servers, and sometimes there's a lot of people. So just kind of be patient with that. And also, if you don't do anything for a while, it's going to kind of automatically log you out of the MetaHuman Creator. And you can only have one MetaHuman Creator running at a time. So you can't like launch multiple tabs and have multiple MetaHuman Creators launched. Okay, so we're getting almost ready here. We're almost at the finish line. Thank you for sticking with me. I really appreciate you guys subscribing to my channels, watching videos like this. Make sure you're leaving comments below. I just really appreciate this. I get so excited making these videos. So if there's anything that you want to see, please let me know, and I'm happy to make those videos in the future. Okay, cool. Here we go. Here's the MetaHuman from the scan, and you can see that it did actually a pretty good job. So if I want to edit this, I can click on Edit Selected, and now I'm ready to edit this. And you can see that with that skull cap that I wore, it was trying to push my hair down. Because again, I want that to be kind of as clean as possible. But if I wanted to adjust that, I can go to Custom Mesh. And then here, I can go here and I can go like this. and I can kind of change that and blend it to kind of the default MetaHuman, okay? Or here as well, I could blend that to kind of what is, kind of a neutral thing. But I feel like I'd be kind of careful with that, because if you do too much of this, you can see I could even choose the chin, for example. And I'm just going to pause this and stop. And if I hit the chin or the jawline and move this, it may look different. Okay, it will look different. Or like, let's say the nose, I go to the nose, it's going to blend it to the original MetaHuman. But I feel like it's not going to be your nose, okay? Or whoever you're scanning. So I feel like even kind of the imperfections of, let's say, the head or the skull line, or the jawline, all these imperfections and kind of asymmetry, that kind of is what makes you you, okay? And the more that you alter that, the more it's not going to look like you. And I feel like a lot of times in reality, we try to correct these imperfections, but in CG, in computer graphics, a lot of times we like to make sure that those imperfections are included. Otherwise, there's going to make it look like there's something off, okay? And that's, again, why I have kind of that skull cap on, because I feel like I want to have the true shape of my head without changing the integrity of it too much, okay? So let's say if I'm happy with this, I can just go to skin, and I can assign some skin. And realize it's not going to be exactly the, you're not using the texture that it came with. Okay, I can go to freckles here. Bring down the strength. I can kind of determine, do I have freckles or not? I can kind of change the density of it. And then I can go to hair, and then I could kind of find similar hair. So maybe like this one here. Okay, and then I could maybe go into beard and maybe add some stubble. And then maybe the mustache, add some stubble as well. And I could add, I could go to the eyes. So if I go to eyes, I can change the color of the eyes if I needed to. I can also go to body and go to tops, and I could change the shirt, okay, and or the pants and shoes, okay, and I could kind of change all that stuff. But I feel like where it really kind of starts to shine is really in the face, and I can go to idle, and I feel like this face, I can instantly see that it comes alive. And when I zoom in, I feel like even if I get super, super close, I feel like that detail really holds, and it really comes together, and it's almost creepy how realistic this is. I could also test some other things like happy or surprised. I can even do body range of motion, face range of motion. So what this does is kind of do a stress test to kind of see how it deforms at kind of a lot of severe positions to kind of see if it's looking right. And what I'm finding is that it kind of seems like on these new kind of edits, it seems like the eyes, even the cheek line, I feel like kind of altered just slightly. I feel like this idle range of motion, I feel like, I don't know, the jawline seems correct. And it seems like it looks more accurate. But if you needed to make some changes, if you wanted to kind of like do manual overrides, what you could do is you could come over here to blending, and notice it says, hey, you can't do this unless you're sure you want to. So you have to go to the custom mesh, and you'll have to enable editing right here. And if I do this, if I enable editing, it's going to say, hey, warn me that I should duplicate and unlock, okay? And since this is just kind of a test one, I've already got it duplicated, so I'm not going to worry about that, but I'll just hit unlock only. Okay, now it unlocks this ability for me to do other things. For example, I could go to blend, and I can go to sculpt over here, and then if I come on here and I can go like this kind of stuff, I could say, hey, I don't have that kind of much of a kind of a double chin. I can kind of pull that up like this. And I can go, you know what? My cheeks maybe like that. And, you know, again, you have a lot of control, but the more that you start to adjust things, the more it's probably not going to look like you, okay? Because I feel like this is based off of a scan, so we have to be kind of careful with that. I think that you're only kind of correcting things that if it seems like if for whatever reason the scan didn't do something correctly, or if it didn't kind of translate correctly, then maybe consider doing these overrides here. Down here, what this is that if I grab one of these characters, and let's say if I, let me see here. If I grab this guy, for example, and dragged him up here, what I can do, if I go to the blend mode, now if I go here, and if I blend, oh, you know what, I think I need at least a few characters, so I might grab, let's see, this one, and this one. There we go. Now if I click on this, you can see that if I go to the middle, that's going to be my nose. But if I go up like that, I'm blending to this guy's nose. And if I go to this one, you can see, you can picture her picture being down here. Now I'm blending to her nose. And if I go here, I'm blending to his nose. And if I go right in between, I'm kind of blending between these two noses. Okay. And if I bring this back to the center, now it's back to my nose. Okay. So if you wanted to kind of alter it to be a fictitious character, you could do that as well. Okay. Now, again, with hairstyles, let's say if you don't see your hairstyle on here, you may be out of luck. Okay. So you are kind of limited to the hairstyles that they have here. And so you're just going to have to find something that's kind of close. Same with the eyebrows, the mustache. You can see they even have beards. You can see what I look like with a beard. Or I could hit none. And there we go. So just, again, really, really cool stuff here with the MetaHuman Creator. And I would, you know, encourage you to kind of play around with it and kind of see what kind of results you can get. With the scan, I feel like it's really awesome. It seems like it really does a great job. It might not be perfect, but I feel like you can get pretty close. If you had makeup on, you can see there's also kind of a makeup section. And I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory once you get in there and just kind of play with it. But, you know, hopefully you just kind of have some fun, kind of poke around, see what you can come up with. Message me. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. And, yeah, feel free to post images of yourself, if you're making yourself or of others. And make sure to like and subscribe. All right. See you next time.